This man was told he'd never play a single snap in the NFL, yet he went on to do something no player in NFL history has ever done. Not Tom Brady, not Lawrence Taylor, not even Reggie White. While other rookies were celebrating first-round contracts worth millions, Joe Kleco was driving an 18-wheeler across Pennsylvania highways, hauling freight for minimum wage. 0 college scholarships, 0 offers, 0 respect. But this truck driver had a secret weapon that college couldn't teach him. A skill that would make NFL offensive linemen have nightmares, and it came from the most unexpected place. Scouts laughed when the Jets drafted him in the 6th round. A wasted pick, they said. His own coaches thought he'd be cut within weeks. Even his teammates didn't believe he belonged. But what happened next didn't just prove everyone wrong. It shattered every record book. It rewrote what was possible for a defensive player, and it started with one devastating hit that put the entire league on notice. This is the story of Joe Kleco, the forgotten 6th rounder who became the most dominant defensive force the NFL had ever seen. And trust me, by the end of this video you'll understand why his name deserves to be mentioned with the all-time greats. On April 28, 1977, NFL Draft Day. While first-round picks were popping champagne and signing million-dollar deals, Joe Kleco sat alone in his Chester, Pennsylvania apartment staring at a phone that never rang. Round 1 passed. Round 2 passed. Round 3, 4, 5, nothing. Then finally, deep into round 6, the New York Jets called his name. But here's what nobody tells you about that moment. Joe didn't celebrate. He didn't smile. Because he knew the truth. 6th-round picks, they're roster fillers, practice squad bodies, guys who get cut before the season even starts. And the scouts, they made it VR clear. This pick feels generous. One scout told reporters. Translation: they thought Joe didn't even deserve to be drafted at all. But the disrespect didn't start on draft day. It started worse before. Rewind to 1975, Joe Kleco just graduated high school, a decent player, nothing special, and when college scouts came knocking, they didn't knock on High's door. 0 scholarship offers, not Division I, not Division II, not even Division III. So while his teammates were headed to campuses across America, Joe was headed somewhere else entirely. The open road. For the next 2 years, Joe Kleco became a full-time truck driver, hauling steel equipment across Pennsylvania, making barely enough to survive. Picture this: it's 3 a.m., freezing rain. Joe's white-knuckling an 18-wheeler through mountain roads, delivering machinery to factories. His hands are calloused. His back aches. He's exhausted. And somewhere in the back of his mind, there's this tiny voice asking, is this it? Is this my life now? But something else was happening during those brutal truck routes. Something nobody could see. Every time Joe loaded 200-pound steel beams by himself, he was building freakish strength. Every time he fought through 16-hour shifts without breaks, he was building mental toughness that no college program could teach. Then one day Joe's old high school coach called him. Temple University will give you a shot. Walk on. No scholarship, no guarantees. Joe had to choose: keep driving trucks and earning a paycheck, or gamble everyhin on a football dream that already rejected him once. Most people would have stayed in the truck, played it safe. But Joe Kleco wasn't most people. He took the gamble. And what happened next at Temple? It caught the attention of O&E Jets scout who saw something nobody else did. But that scout's report, it came with a MRI that would haunt Joe's entire rookie season. That scout's report landed on the Jets head coach's desk with one brutal sentence circled in red. Kleco has heart, but he's too small, too slow, and too raw. Cut him before camp ends. The Jets coaches read it. They believed it, and they told Joe directly to his face, "You're here to fill the roster for training camp. Don't get comfortable." Joe looked them dead in the eye and said something that would become legendary in that locker room. "If you're gonna cut me, you're gonna know I was here." Training camp 1977, day 1. Joe lines up across from the starting offensive tackle, a 6'6", 290-pound monster who'd been in the league for 5 years. The whistle blows. And Joe, he gets absolutely destroyed, pancaked into the dirt. The veterans laughed. Coaches shook their heads. But here's what they didn't know: Joe spent the previous night studying film until 3 a.m. He wasn't just getting beat. He was low-ing. Every practice, Joe got demolished. But every night, he stayed late lifting weights in an empty gym, watching film in dark rooms, refusing to sleep until he found an answer. Then came week 2 of camp, and Joe did something nobody expected. Between practices, he started using a technique from his OTHR life, his boxing life. See, what nobody knew. Joe had spent years as an amateur boxer in Philadelphia's toughest gyms. He knew how to slip punches, how to counter, how to make bigger men miss. So Joe started treating offensive linemen like boxers. Hand placement became jabs, swim moves became uppercuts, and suddenly, those 290-pound giants couldn't touch him. His hands were too fast, His footwork too sharp. One practice, Joe beat his assignment so badly that the offensive tackle threw his helmet in frustration. Week 3. Full contact scrimmage. The coaches are watching closely. Clipboards ready, deciding who stays and who goes. The quarterback drops back. Joe explodes off the line using his new technique. The offensive tackle lunges. Joe swats his hands away like they're now chi. Then Joe does something that made the entire practice field go silent. He lunchs through the gap and hits the quarterback so hard, the sound echoed across the facility. Searake, the QB crumples. Trainers rush in. The head coach walks over to Joe, face unreadable. Everyone thinks Joe's getting cut for hitting too hard. Instead, the coach leans in and whispers, "Do that in games, and you'll never leave this roster." But making the roster was only the beginning, because what Joe did in his first NFL game, it sent shockwaves through the entire league. And it all started with a quarterback who learned the hard way: never disrespect the truck driver. September 18, 1977, Joe Kleco's first NFL game. The New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Joe sits on the bench, 6th-round rookie, not expected to play a single snap. Then, midway through the second quarter, disaster strikes. The starting defensive end goes down with an injury. The defensive coordinator looks down the bench, pointing at Joe. "You're in. Don't screw this up." Joe straps his helmet. His hands are shaking. Not from fear, from hunger. 2 years of driving trucks. Years of being told he wasn't good enough. Every rejection. Every insult. Every doubt. It all comes flooding back in that moment. Joe lines up across from Miami's all-pro offensive tackle, a veteran who's been to 3 Pro Bowls. The guy looks at Joe and actually laughs. "Who the hell are you, rookie?" The ball snaps. Joe explodes off the line with that boxing technique, hands like lightning. The tackle tries to grab him. Joe swats it away. Swims past him like he's not even TR. Miami's quarterback Bob Grease drops back, looking downfield completely unaware. Then suddenly 240 pounds of pure fury crashes him from the blind side. Boom! Grease hits the turf hard. The football flies loose. Jets recover. The crowd ERPS. But Joe, he's not done. Play after play, Joe terrorizes Miami's offensive line. Another sack. Another tackle for loss. Another quarterback hit. By the fourth quarter, Miami's coach is CREMING at his offensive line. Sesombo to BOC Canum BR73, but they can't. The all-pro tackle who laughed at Joe. He's now getting benched because Joe made him look like a high school player. When the final whistle blows, Joe records THRECKS in his first game, THRU, as a 6th-round rookie who wasn't even supposed to play. The Jets' locker room goes absolutely insane. Veterans who ignored him all camp are now slapping his back, screaming his name. But the most powerful moment, the head coach pulls Joe aside, the same coach who had that "cut him" report on his desk, and says, "Kid, I don't know where you came from, but you just became a star." From that moment on, Joe Kleco became USTOPABLE. He led the entire Jets team in sacks despite only starting the final 6 games of his rookie season. Coaches around the league started game planning specifically for him. Double teams, triple teams, chip blocks. Nothing worked. And here's the craziest part. While other rookies were out celebrating, Joe spent his off-season doing what he always did. Driving trucks, staying humble, staying Hanan-GRY. Because he knew something everyone else forgot: the disrespect never really stops. You just get better at proving them wrong. Over the next decade, Joe Kleco didn't just become great. He became legendary. 1981 MFL sack leader with 25 sacks, playing on a Burrow Kenfote. 1983 All-Pro at defensive tackle, a completely different position. 1985 Pro Bowl at Nous to kill, his THRD different position. And then the record books changed. Farvar. Joe Kleco became the first defensive player in NFL history to make the Pro Bowl at THRE different positions, not 2, TRI. Something Tom Brady never did. Something Lawrence Taylor never did. Something no Oni has ever done since. They told him he was too small, too slow, too raw. They laughed at the truck driver who dared to dream. But Joe Kleco didn't need their approval. He didn't need their validation. He just needed Owen chance. One snap, one moment to show the world what happens when you bet against a man who refuses to quit. That's not just a football story. That's a life lesson. Never let Angao write your ending. From the highways of Pennsylvania to the Hall of Fame discussion, Joe Kleco didn't just play football. He redefined what's possible. Now here's my question for you. Who's the most underrated NFL legend that deserves a story like this? Drop their name in the comments right now. And if Joe Kleco's story just gave you chills, smash that like button, because we're bringing more untold legends to this channel every single week. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's make sure these stories never get forgotten. I'll see you in the next one.